Everyone, in this video, let's discuss about the peer review amendment, which is an important amendment area for CA final May 2023 examination. A short question will be asked from this area. Please to listen to the end. Okay. So, I have covered the amendments in 13 different segments. Okay. So, the first one would be earlier it was known as statement on peer review, and now it will be replaced by calling it as guidelines or peer review guidelines 2022. Now, from now on, we'll call it as guidelines or peer review guidelines 2022. Okay, it was mandatory. Now it is guidelines, so it is optional. No, that's not the case. Peer review is still mandatory. Peer review guidelines 2022 issued by the council are covered under clause 1 of part 2 of second schedule to Chartered Accountancy Act 1949, and it's obligate for the practice unit to comply with the provisions contained in this guideline. It is very much obligatory for the practice unit, this audit firm under review, to comply with the provisions contained in this guideline. Otherwise, it will qualify as a professional misconduct. With this, first amendment is done. Good. Now, move on to second amendment. It deals with the objectives of peer review. What is the objective of peer review? The main objective of peer review is to ensure that in carrying out the assurance service assignment, the members of the institute should comply with the technical, professional, and ethical standards as applicable, including audit quality material model audit quality material model wherever applicable, or other regulatory requirements as may be prescribed by the council or any other committee, and have in place proper systems including documentation thereof to amply demonstrate the quality of the assurance services. So new thing which is added here is the audit quality material model. Audit quality material model. It is like a self-assessment to be conducted by the practice unit itself. The board has issued some questions for which you have to answer yes or no, or some reasoning should be there. So yes, no, not applicable. Based on it, it will give you some marks. Okay, so here you will have total marks of 600. Okay, up to 20, and you will be divided. It is like section 1, practice management operation for 280 points. Maximum points is 280. And human resource management 240, and practice management strategic and functional 80. So under each of the sections, I have to see. It is like if I have scored up to 25% in each section, then it indicates I am very nascent I have to take immediate action to upgrade its competency, or it will be left lagging behind. If I'm scoring 25 to 50%, then it is a level 2 firm, which states that the firm has made some progress and tune further to reach the next level of competency. If I have scored in the range of 50 to 75%, it means the firm has made substantial progress, will have to fine tune further to reach the highest level of competency. Above 75% is a level 4 firm, which indicates the firm has made significant adoption of the strategy and should focus on optimizing it further. So this table is not for examination purpose, but it's only for your understanding. Okay, so audit quality material model is just a model of questionnaire which is to be answered self-assessment by the practice unit, where the total points will be 600, covering 3 different sections, and you will be assessed as level 1, level 2, level 3, level 4 based on this. Okay, now this is different from the applicability of peer review. Okay, now let's move on. Generally, we have been released the version 1. This version 1 for now, based on that guidelines issued by the institute or the board, covers the following entity. Okay, this is also not for exam. Okay, it is like a listed entity, banks and the non-cooperative, other than cooperative banks, except multi-state cooperative banks. So multi-state cooperative bank will still be covered by this process, and or insurance companies. So this audit quality material model will be applicable to those entities who are, wherever applicable, right? So who are doing these type of audit: listed entity audit, banks audit, and then insurance company audit. Firms doing only branch audit. Okay, now let's move on. All points are similar to what we have already learned. Now, Amendment 3 is the definition of reviewer. Means reviewer means a member duly approved and empaneled by the board on fulfilling the qualifications prescribed for a reviewer as per guideline 26 of these guidelines for peer review. Okay, so this alone has been newly added. Instead of statements, now it is replaced by the guidelines. Wherever statements were coming, now it has been replaced by the guidelines for peer review. Now, what is the eligibility requirement? There is again a new point here. A peer reviewer shall be a member in practice with at least 7 years of assurance practice experience. Earlier it was audit experience. Now it is member in practice with at least 7 years of assurance practice experience. Assurance is a broader term as compared to audit. Assurance is a broader term. Okay. Now, but here no, I have not changed it. So there is a possibility for MCQ here. They could have given a member in practice, and the MCQ could be 7 years of audit practice, 7 years of assurance practice experience. We have to choose 7 years of assurance practice experience. But see, in a case of a member who has moved from an industry to practice and is currently in practice, he should have at least 10 years of audit experience. Still here it is audit experience, okay? And at least 3 years of audit experience in practice. Should have undergone the requisite training and clear the requisite test for peer review as prescribed by the board. So now let's move on. Branch peer review is a new definition, which means a reviewer appointed to conduct the peer review of the branch of a practice unit. I assume I have so many branches. For a particular branch, I have to conduct the peer review. Then that will be conducted by a person known as branch peer reviewer. The qualifications and other obligations on the duties of branch peer reviewer shall be the same as that of a reviewer. Now that he is doing a review of a branch, peer review of a branch, he will be known as branch peer reviewer. New unit. New unit means a firm whose date of establishment is less than 12 months immediately preceding the date of the receipt of application of peer review and which may or may not have rendered any assurance service during the said period, or a practice unit in existence for a period exceeding 12 months but has not rendered any assurance services. See, for example, I have received peer review application for peer review. Okay, now that new unit has to be classified into two. One, I am already in existence for greater than 12 months, but I am not rendered any assurance services. That will be one category. Another category of new unit will be I am in existence for less than 12 months and I may or may not have, but I am less than 12 months and may or may not have conducted the assurance activities. These two are new definitions. Okay. Now, this is very important. That's why. Now, peer review board, here again, the term statements have been replaced by guidelines. So let's read it. Peer review board means the board constituted by the council in terms of these guidelines from time to time. Now, peer review board. Peer review board, let's in that we have two more amendments. Okay, not in definition but related provisions. Okay, one is with respect to the composition of the board. Okay, it states that the board shall consist maximum of 6 and maximum of 12 members to be appointed. Minimum of 6 and maximum of 12 to be appointed by the council, of whom not less than 50% shall be from amongst the members of the council. These numbers are changed now. So minimum of 6, maximum of 12. Okay. Meeting requirements. Well, there was a meeting requirement, but now it has been stated that provisions related to the time, place, and quorum of the meeting of the peer review board as well as the procedure for transaction of the business shall be governed by the Chartered Accountants Regulation 1988. This regulation is not in the syllabus, but let's remember that this provisions relating to the meeting is now being covered by the governed by the Chartered Accountants Regulation 1988. We have completed now till 3 amendments. Let's move on for the 4th one. Okay, let's make a tick mark. Okay, in order to style, let's make, yeah, sure. Inverted tick. So first we have forgot, now they have reminded. It's fine. Now, amendment 4. Scope of peer review. We earlier had 6 points. Now we are going to have one more point. But this point is now being included in the 4th one. Okay, he is now going to include in the 4th one. So 4, 5, and 6 will be renumbered as 5, 6, and 7. Okay, let's read it once. Compliance with technical, professional, and ethical standards surely it's to be reviewed, right? Then quality of reporting. Then system and procedure for carrying out assurance activities. The 4th point now would be self-evaluation under audit quality material model or any other regulation issued by the Center for Audit. I would have done that 600 mark question paper, right? Questionnaire, right? That I have to give it to peer reviewer for us review. Okay, for us review. self-evaluation under audit quality maturity model or any other guideline issued by the Center for the Audit. The fifth point would be training program for staff, and then compliance with directions and guidelines issued by the council to the members, and then compliance with directions issued by the council relating to the article assistance or audit assistance. Okay, let's repeat once again. Yes. See, in this session itself, I'm going to cover all the points with respect to the amendment area. Okay, so that if a question is asked, we can just write this. Okay, not that only the amendment is covered. Okay. See, for scope of peer review, if a question is asked, we can just copy the same answer and write there. Okay. Now, yeah. Let's repeat. The reviewer shall cover compliance with technical, professional, and ethical standards, quality of reporting system, and procedures for carrying out the assurance services. Fourth point is now self-evaluation under our audit quality maturity model or any other guideline issued by the Center for Audit. Training programs for staff concerned with assurance function, including the availability of appropriate infrastructure, compliance with directions and guidelines issued by the council to the members, including the fees charged, number of audits taken, register for assurance engagement conducted during the year, and other such related records, compliance with directions or other guidelines issued by the council in relation to the article assistance or audit assistance, including the attendance register, work diaries, stipend payments, and other such related records. Okay. Now, I mean, in the area of technical, professional, ethical standard. Okay, but the miscellaneous point is now added. Okay, let's first check it and then read it again. Any other technical, professional, ethical standard and other standards issued by any other governing authority uh, governing the profession of chartered accountancy. Any, for example, NAFRA is there, right? He's going to regulate the profession, govern the profession of chartered accountancy together with ICAI. So if he comes out with some other new technical, professional, ethical standards, that has to be governed. This is an example, okay? So here it is a miscellaneous point saying that any other technical, professional, ethical standards issued by any governing authority. Now, let's repeat, let's read the entire definition once so that we will be clear. As per the statement, technical, professional, ethical standard means the accounting standards issued by the ICAI that are applicable to the entities other than the companies. Accounting standards 133 of the Companies Act, based on the recommendation of the ICAI in consultation with the NFRA, Indian Accounting Standards in the years prescribed in Section 133 of the Companies Act on the recommendation of ICAI in consultation with NFRA, notified as in the years rules. Standards, engagement quality control standards, statements and guidance notes, statements or standards on internal audit, guideline notification, directions, announcements, pronouncements, professional standards issued from time to time by the council or any of its committee. The framework of statement refers to the standards of quality control, auditing, review, and other assurance related services, and the framework for assurance engagement. Provisions of the relevant statute or other rules and regulations which are applicable in the context of specific engagement being reviewed, including instructions, guidelines, notification, directions issued by the regulatory bodies as covered in the scope of the assurance engagement. Any other technical, professional, ethical standards and other standards issued by the authority governing the profession of chartered accountancy, covered till amendment number 5. Now, let's move on to the amendment number 6, which is similar to the above one. Here also a miscellaneous point has been added. Okay. Assurance service does not include, this is a favorite question of institute, right? Assurance service does not include management consultancy services, engagement to prepare tax returns or advising the clients in taxation matters, representation before various authorities, engagement for the compilation of the financial statement. Okay, just give me a minute. Prepare tax return, representation before various authorities, management consultancy services, engagement solely to assist the client in preparing, compiling, or collating information other than the financial statement, testifying as expert witness, providing an expert opinion on the principles, accounting standards, or the applicability of certain laws on the basis of the facts provided by the client, engagement for due diligence. And there is a miscellaneous point. Any other service rendered or function performed by the practitioner not prescribed by the council to be the assurance engagement. Any other service rendered or function performed by the practitioner not prescribed by the council as an assurance engagement. So with the 6 amendments are covered. Now let's move on to the 7th one. Now it's starting to take some speed. Yes, amendment number 7. Applicability of peer review is very, 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 very important. Okay, was again amended. So it's very important. Okay, Practice units subject to review. Earlier, practice units were classified as level 1 and level 2 category. However, under the peer review guidelines, this has been replaced with the peer review mandate implementation. As per clause 5 of peer review guidelines 2022, criteria of peer review has been defined on the following basis. There are three different criteria. Okay, let's read it. Mandatory. Peer review can be mandated for such practice unit as may be decided by the council. It is mandatory as decided by the council. Voluntary. Any practice unit can so to apply to conduct its peer review. Easy. Then you need not remember any entities now for now. Okay, but we have to remember. But for now, we have been divided into three categories: mandatory, voluntary, specific cases. Mandatory is it will be told by the council, and then voluntary would be you can so moto apply for getting your firm peer reviewed, and then special case the board based on specific information received from secretary ICAI or disciplinary directorate or any other regulator which in the opinion of the board requires a special peer review of the practice unit may conduct a special peer review of the practice unit for such a period as to be determined by the board, for any period as to be determined by the board if on the request of specific people. Okay, that is secretary ICAI, disciplinary director or any other regulator. Now council decided to mandate the peer review process for the coverage of more number of firms, that is peer review mandate. Now, holding a valid peer review certificate is now mandatory. Okay, should be a prerequisite for undertaking the audits of all entities falling under 1, 2, 3, and 4. We have 1, 2, 3, and 4 phases, and for covering these audits, covering these entities audits, you have to hold a valid peer review certificate. That is a prerequisite. Now, let's understand what are the audit of enterprises whose debt or equity securities are listed in India or abroad as defined by SAB LODR requirements. For these practice units, there is a prerequisite for having a peer review certificate. See, those listed companies, for doing a listed company audit, you have to hold a valid peer review certificate. This has already been mandated by the SAB. Okay, sorry, just give me a minute. I don't know where the eraser is. Yeah, sorry. Peer review is already mandatory by SEBI for those listed entity audits. So this is again a mandatory mandate which has been stipulated by the ICAI in line with SEBI's requirement. Now let's move on to the first one is now done. Second audit of unlisted public companies. Unlisted public companies paid up capital not less than 5 crore rupees. Paid up capital not less than 500 crore rupees. Annual turnover of not less than 1000 crore rupees and having in aggregate outstanding borrowings, loans and debentures and deposits of not less than 500 crore rupees. 500 crores for paid up capital and loans and deposits, and then 1000 crores for turnover. As on 31st March of the immediately preceding financial year, for these practices, there is a prerequisite for having a peer review certificate. Okay. From 1st April 2023, this is going to be mandatory. From 1st April 2023, this is going to be mandatory. Okay. For listed entities, already mandatory from 1st April 2022. For other entities who's fulfilling this criteria, will be mandatory from 1st April 2023. Now, practice units rendering attestation services and having 5 or more partners, for them also from 1st April 2023, this is going to be mandatory. Now, for level 3 units, practice units which proposed to undertake statutory audits which have raised funds from public or banks or financial institution of over 50 crore rupees during the period under review or of any body corporate including trusts which are covered under public entities. See, criteria here is these entities have raised funds from public or banks or financial institution of over 50 crore rupees, 50 crore rupees, 50 crore rupees during the period under review or of any body corporate including trusts which are covered under public interest entities. Okay, here it will be 4 or more partners. 5 or more partners already covered. Now 4 or more partners will be covering here. Okay, this is mandatory from 1st April 2024. Now, practice unit which is proposed to undertake audits of branches of public sector banks, audit of branches of public sector banks, audit of branches of public sector banks. Okay. If even I'm going to conduct some bank's branch audit, I have to get myself peer reviewed. Okay. Now, let's see criteria. Here, three or more partners. Three or more partners from 1st April 2025. If none of these conditions are satisfied, you can get your audit firm peer review on a voluntary, that is suo moto basis by applying to the peer review board. Now, let's move on. Should we revise it? Yes. Okay. Level phase one. Practice units which propose to undertake statutory audit of enterprises whose equity or debt securities are listed in India or abroad as defined in SEBI LODR requirements. For these practice units, there is a prerequisite of having a peer review certificate mandatory from 1st April 2022. Phase 2, practice unit which propose to undertake statutory audit of unlisted public companies having a paid up share capital of not less than 500 crore rupees or having an annual turnover of not less than 1000 crore rupees or having in aggregate outstanding loans, dependents or deposit of not less than 500 crore rupees as on 31st March of immediately preceding financial year. For these practice units, there is a prerequisite of having a peer review certificate or practice unit rendering attestation services and having 5 or more partners. For these practice unit, there is a prerequisite for of having a peer review certificate before accepting the audit. Okay, here all these are or conditions. Okay, then it is mandatory from 1st April 2023. Phase 3, practice units which is proposed to undertake statutory audit of entities which have raised funds from banks or public or financial institution of over 50 crore rupees during the period under review or of any corporate including the trust which are covered under the public interest entity. For these practice units, there is a prerequisite of having a peer review certificate or practice units are rendering attestation services and having 4 or more partners. For these practice units, there's a prerequisite of having a peer review certificate before accepting the statutory audit. Okay, mandatory from 1st April 2024. Then phase 4 would be practice unit which proposed to undertake audits of branches of public sector banks. For these practice units, there is a prerequisite of having a peer review certificate rendering attestation services and having 3 or more partners. For these practice units, there's a prerequisite of having a peer review certificate before accepting any statutory audit. 1st April 2025 is mandatory. Now, let's move on. At each phase, before undertaking statutory audit, concerned practice unit should possess the peer review certificate. Okay. Now, here there is an example. This could be asked an exam because this was given by this ICAI and the credit board, right? So, for the practice unit from 1st April 2023, there is a prerequisite for having a peer review certificate for undertaking statutory audit of unlisted public company having paid up capital of not less than 500 crore rupees and having an annual turnover of not less than 1000 crore rupees or having an aggregate outstanding loans, dependents, deposits of not less than 500 crore rupees as on 31st March of immediately preceding financial year or from 1st April 2024, practice unit and requiring attestation services and having 4 or more partners should have a peer review before undertaking any statutory audit. This dates could be a question, humble area. Okay, or say it could be given what is the relevant applicability of the credit. Okay, on the date, peer review becoming mandatory for a practice unit. If it is in possession of a peer review certificate, there is no need of one seeking subjecting the peer review practice audit to peer review till the conclusion of the validity period. Till the conclusion of the validity period of the said certificate, it already possesses peer review certificate. Till the conclusion of the validity, you need not obtain another peer review certificate. It is necessary for such practice unit to process a new peer review certificate on the conclusion of the validity of the peer review certificate that was available at the time peer review becoming mandatory. Once it's expired, you have to obtain it new. It deals with confidentiality principle. Here only these two things have been changed. This except word has been added and this point has been added. Okay. Let's read it and then discuss it. Okay. Strict confidentiality shall be maintained by all those involved in peer review process, namely the reviewers, members, and any qualified assistants or the practice unit. Clear? Pakka clear, right? All persons governed by secrecy provisions shall at all times preserve and aid in preserving secrecy with regard to any matter arising in the performance or assisting in the performance of any function directly or indirectly related to the process and conduct of peer review. I have to preserve confidentiality at all times, okay? No matter what. Okay, now reviewer shall not make use or disclose any contents of the report or any confidential information about the process of review except as required by the board or council. Except required by the board or council, the reviewer should not disclose any information any confidential information. Now, non-compliance with this shall amount to professional misconduct. Non-compliance would amount to professional misconduct. Now, this is an MCQ area. This is an MCQ area. Which states that declaration of confidentiality form number 4 shall be signed by all members of the board and its board secretary. Here, all members of the board and board secretary is form number 4. Declaration of confidentiality form number 4. Now, let's move on to amendment number 9. From these, it's like procedural areas. Okay. Amendment number 9. So we will just go over and just mark the important areas so that you will be remembering those key terms. Okay. Procedure for initiating peer review. Practice unit which decide to get its peer review shall make an application for peer review. In the application come questionnaire in form number 1. Form number 1 is for application come questionnaire. In case of peer reviews initiated by the board, the application come questionnaire should be submitted by the practice unit on the request of the peer review board secretary. On the request, I should see, if I am getting to get it voluntarily, I should submit it directly. Okay, in form number 1. Okay. If I'm going to be subjected mandatorily, then initiated by the board, then he will, at the request of the board, I have to submit it. Okay. The application shall be received by the board, shall be duly numbered. Should be duly numbered. Okay. Then on the receipt of the application and questionnaire, the names of 3 reviewers shall be recommended by the board to the practice unit within 3 working days. See, after the receipt of application, the board will spell out 3 reviewers' name within 3 working days. 3 reviewers, 3 working days. 3 reviewers communicate within 3 working days. Practice unit should select 1. That's why they will get only 1 day time. One they have to select so that they will get only 1 working day time. Okay. It's a bit funny, but okay. Try to remember in this way so that you will never forget it. Okay. Now, the board shall appoint the peer reviewer selected by the practice unit in accordance with this guidelines. Okay. Said appoint by the board. The board shall intimate the reviewers who selected to submit a declaration of confidentiality in form number 2 to practice unit within 2 working days. Declaration in form 2 within 2 working days. So you can remember the form number here. Declaration of confidentiality. See here, you will get a doubt. This declaration of confidentiality shall be signed by all members of the board and its board secretariat. Okay, that was in form number 4. The one which the reviewer has to submit to the practice unit will be in form number 2 within 2 working days. Then the practice unit will also provide the copy in form 1 to within 2 working days to the reviewer. That application copy will also be provided to the reviewer within 2 working days. Okay, so let's repeat quickly. Okay, first one is practice unit which decide to get its peer review shall make an application for the peer review. An application come questionnaire in form number 1. In case of the peer review is initiated by the board, application come questionnaire in form number 1 would be sent on the request of the peer review board secretary. The application will be serially numbered. Then the names of 3 reviewers will be recommended by the board within 3 working days. The practice unit shall select 1 out of the 3 and intimate to the board within 1 working day. And then the board shall appoint the board shall appoint the peer reviewer selected by the practice unit and shall intimate the reviewer to submit a declaration of confidentiality in form number 2 to the practice unit within 2 working days. Okay. Then the practice unit shall also provide a copy of the application come questionnaire in form number 1 submitted to the reviewer within 2 working days of the appointment of the reviewer. Now let's move on. Peer review procedure to be followed by the peer reviewer. What is the procedure to be followed by the peer reviewer? This was above was the appointment. This application procedure. Now it is peer review procedure. Before the commencement of the peer review, the peer reviewer shall ensure the declaration of confidentiality is furnished to the practice unit and acknowledgement of receipt thereof is obtained. Anything which we are giving, I have to obtain a receipt acknowledgement. Okay, it's very important, even though it is for a written representation, or it can be for some, what to say, I have obtained third party confirmations. For that, external confirmation, even for that, I have to get an acknowledgement of receipt. Okay, because it serves as evidence that I have already delivered it. Okay, if there is an issue. Now, so declaration of confidentiality as furnished to the practice unit, acknowledgement of receipt thereof is obtained from him. On receiving the application come questionnaire in form number 1 from the practice unit, the peer reviewer shall initiate the peer review by intimating the practice unit of the proposed visit and proposed sample selected to be kept ready by the practice unit shall be intimated by the peer reviewer in form number 5 prescribed by the board. A reviewer may seek further clarification in form number 6. So intimation will be proposed samples intimation, proposed information will be in form number 5, and additional clarification will be in form number 6. The practice unit shall provide additional information to the reviewer within 1 working day. Within 1 working day. Additional information in 1 working day. The reviewer shall within 2 working days of receiving the information select assurance service engagement that he wants to get it. I have submitted the samples. Okay. The proposed samples he will select. Okay. Now within 2 working days and intimate that he was willing to review it. Okay. The reviewer plan for an on-site review visit for initial meeting and consultation with the practice unit. The reviewer shall give the practice unit at least 2 working days to keep necessary records of the select assurance services in form number 5. He will give them 2 working days time. Then the reviewer and the practice unit shall mutually cooperate and ensure the entire review process completed with the entire review to be completed within 20 days now. So within 20 working days it has to be completed. Okay, that is generally a month, right? Working days. If I can calculate, it's generally a month. Okay, so entire review to be completed within 20 working days from the date of receipt of application from the practice unit for being peer reviewed, or from the date of notifying the practice unit about its selection for review, as the case may be. Within 20 working days, the entire peer review process has to be completed. In case of a review of the peer review of a new unit, the reviewer practice unit shall mutually cooperate and ensure the review was completed within 7 working days, within a week's time. 7 working days from the date of receipt of application come questionnaire from the practice unit for being peer reviewed. So let's repeat it. Okay. First one, the peer review shall ensure the declaration of confidentiality is furnished to the practice unit and acknowledgement of receipts is obtained, and then he should intimate the peer review. Peer review shall intimate the practice unit about the proposed visit and proposed samples to be kept ready, and proposed samples will be intimated in form number 5. Okay. Form number 6 will be used for seeking the additional clarification. The practice unit shall provide this additional information within 1 working day. The reviewer shall within 2 working days of receiving this information from the practice unit select the assurance engagements that he would like to review. Okay, and inform the board in form number 5 again. Okay. Now, whenever this information, it is form number 5. Additional clarification is form number 6 for now. Okay. Now, the reviewer shall plan an on-site visit for initial meeting, and then he shall give at least 2 working days time to keep the keep ready the necessary records. The reviewer and the practice unit shall mutually cooperate to ensure the entire review process completed within 20 working days from the date of application or receipt of application, or the date of notifying the practice unit that has been selected for peer review. In case of a new unit, it will be for within 7 working days. 20 working days for general units and 7 working days for new unit. Now, amendment number 10 is respect to execution area. Okay, execution area. Okay, like there it will be peer review visit. Earlier it was 7 working days. Now it has been reduced to 6 working days. Now the on-site review should not exceed beyond 6 working days, depending on the size of the practice unit. Then this is newly added. Procedure for peer review of new unit. Peer review of a new unit is to be conducted based on the antecedents of the partner and the policy parameters announced by the practice unit for the conduct of the attest function. The reviewer has to verify the same from the application questionnaire submitted in the form number 1, as well as on the on-site visit to the practice unit shall be restricted to 1 day. See, general on-site visit will be 6 working days, but on-site visit for new practice units peer review it will be only 1 day. Reviewer shall thereafter submit a report to the board in the format prescribed by it. So I have to just verify the things which have been given in form 1, and then I will do an on-site review for 1 day, and then I have to submit a report. Now, amendment 7. It is reporting by the peer reviewer. Now that I have done all my work, I have to report, right? That is the important area again. After completing the on-site review, the reviewer shall submit the peer review report. Now it will be in form number 9. Form number 9. Peer review report is to be given in form number 9. I don't know why it is not erasing. Yeah. Peer review report to be given to the board in form number 9 if in his opinion the practitioner has adequate systems in compliance with technical, professional, ethical standards and modified opinion, then it is in form number 9 first. Okay, the copy of the report shall also be forwarded to the practice unit. So I will submit to the board, and I will also forward a copy to the practice unit. Now, in case in the opinion of the peer reviewer it is deficient or non-compliant, okay, he shall communicate his findings to the practice unit in the preliminary report. First, the preliminary report to be issued by the peer reviewer to the practice unit if there is any deficiency or non-compliance. Okay, the practice unit should reply within 2 working days. Okay, make his representations or submission to the peer reviewer. If the reviewer is satisfied with the reply, okay, he shall submit an unqualified peer review report in form number 9. A copy will be forwarded to the practice unit. In case the reviewer is not satisfied now also, then the reviewer shall submit a qualified report to the board. Qualified report to the board incorporating his reasons. Like we had a basis of opinion, right? Similarly, here also, if I am giving a qualified report, I have to incorporate the reasons for the same along with the Form 9. A copy of the same will be forwarded to the practice unit. The peer review reports change the system of quality control for assurance services of the practice unit for the period under review has been designed so as to carry out assurance services in a manner that ensures compliance with the technical, ethical, and professional services (TEP) standards. Okay, now the peer reviewer shall see this is nothing but system of quality control. That audit quality control we have read in first one, right? Audit quality maturity model that compliance have to check. Now let's move on. Okay. Now, the peer review shall submit the following documents. One is annexure, then there's a copy of the questionnaire, then list of samples selected and the criteria, and then the preliminary report, if any. Then, the practice unit as well as the reviewer shall ensure that all documents submitted to the board are duly dated and signed. Okay. And completed in all aspects. The reviewer and the practice unit shall mutually cooperate and complete within 20 working days from the date of receipt of the application from the practice unit for being peer reviewed or from the date of notifying the practitioner about its selection for peer review. In case of a new unit, it will be within 7 working days. Fine, 7 working days from the date of application or from the date of intimation that the practitioner being reviewed. Now, amendment number 12. Review of report by the peer review secretariat under the review of report by the peer review secretariat under the supervision of in the direction of the peer review board secretary. The peer review board secretary shall ensure the peer review reports accompanied by all the documents mentioned in the guidelines. Shall also ensure the documents are complete in all aspects. Completeness to be ensured. All reports will be placed by the before the board or its subcommittee for consideration and issuance of peer review certificate. I have to place it before the board or its subcommittee. In case of a qualified report, the peer review board secretary shall place the report before the board. It's not before subcommittee. It's before the board if there is a qualified report. The board may decide on follow-on review after a period of 1 year or from the date of issue of report, which may be reduced, but shall not be less than 6 months. Okay, but shall not be less than 6 months. But shall not be less than 6 months from the date of issue of the report. From the date of issue of the peer review report within period of 1 year or shall be reduced by 6 months. The board may decide to conduct a follow-on review. Now, the last amendment is with respect to issuance of peer review certificates. Everything was related to peer review certificate. Okay. Issuance. In case of unqualified peer review report by a peer reviewer, the peer review board secretary shall place the report before the board or subcommittee. We have discussed, right? For consideration and issuance of peer review certificate to the practice unit, but only after the peer reviewer confirms the fee receipt from the practice unit. I will issue a certificate only after the peer reviewer has received the necessary fees from the practice unit. Peer reviewer certificate shall be issued to the new unit subject to the procedure followed by the reviewer as prescribed in clause 8 of these guidelines and the clauses of these guidelines as well case may be. Certificate issued by the board or subcommittee shall be noted by the board at its meeting. It should be noted at the board by its meeting. The certificate shall be duly signed by the chairman, vice chairman, and secretary of the board mentioning the validity of the validity period. Have to get it signed by the chairman, vice chairman, and the secretary, and with the validity period being mentioned there. A peer review secretary shall serve the peer review certificate upon the practice unit. It will be served by the peer review board secretary. The peer review board secretary shall update the list of practice units having a valid peer review certificate, incorporating the name of the practice unit to whom the peer review certificates have been issued on the ICAI website. From now on, I can find the ICAI website who all are the list of practice units which are having a valid peer review certificate in case of qualified report. Now, till now we have discussed about unqualified report and other things, right? If it is a qualified report, then has been considered by the board, the peer review board secretary shall inform the practice unit that the peer review certificate cannot be issued along with the reasons as well as inform the date of due date for conducting the follow-on review. If there is a qualified report, I will inform that I will not issue a peer review certificate and I will mention the due date for conducting the follow-on review. Now, validity of peer review certificate. Some new points have been added. Okay. A practice unit cannot continue with the existing certificate whose validity has expired. All documents signed by the practice unit during the intervening period will be invalid. When there is no valid peer review certificate, all documents which is being signed by the practice unit will be deemed to be invalid. Therefore, it is the responsibility of the practice unit to complete the peer review of the firm and submit all necessary documents at least 1 month before the expiry of the previous certificate. The peer review certificate is to be issued to the practice unit shall be valid for a period of 3 years from now. From now on, it will be 3 years or such the period as may be decided by the board, commencing from the date of the receipt of peer review report by the board. The validity of the peer review certificate issued to the new unit shall be decided by the board. For general units, it will be 3 years, so the period has to be decided by the board, and for the new units, it will be decided by the board alone. The council may, for such reason as may prescribed by it, extend the validity of the existing peer review certificate granted to the practice unit. The practice unit shall make an application in Form 8 requesting for extension of validity. Requesting for extension of validity should be applying in form number 8. So with this, all the amendment areas in peer review have been covered. Okay. If you want this PDF, do comment. I will share with you personally, and then please comment your email ID so that I will share with you personally. And then yeah, that's it. Please watch it once more if you want, so that all the points get stored in your memory properly. Okay. Yeah. Have a great day ahead. Let's catch up with some other amendment videos soon, and stay tuned. Thank you.